Welcome to today's podcast. I'm going to talk to you about pain today, specifically about joints pain. More often than not, most of us will take it for granted that if we don't have pain, it's all good. But by the time when we have pain, it's too late. And it's too late to do something about it. Yes, it's too late to prevent the pain from happening because the pain has happened. It's not as straightforward as it sounds because by the time we feel pain, we'll be thinking of deducting the negative, getting rid of the pain, instead of adding a positive such as preventing pain so that we have freedom and space in our body. A lot of pain happens in the joints. So as much as you would say there's a muscle or there's a kind of like twisting or something went off in the body, I can bet you 90% of the time is due to a compression in the joints. The compression in the joints causing a lack of mobility. So when we try to move beyond the range that we have restricted ourselves into, we end up having a kind of pain. This pain can totally be avoided if we have space in the joints, if we're able to maintain the level of freedom in each joint or restore the spaciousness in each joint. Here's the thing, many people do not know how to ease the tightness in our joints. One simple reason is because of the fitness industry that over-exercise the need for pumping and loading our muscles. The more we load our muscles, the more contracted our body gets. When that happens, the space in the joints also lessens. To some extent, it might even get congested because everything's squashed together due to a lot of contraction from the stiffness we have gained through strength building. So it is very important that yes, while we want to have strength, we also need to have space in the joints. Without space, there is no mobility. And when there is no mobility, I'm going to show you a few simple movements. This is how most people would compromise that leads to a kind of twist or muscle tear or any kind of discomfort when we try to move beyond the range. For instance, you're driving and you want to turn to get something from the seat behind. And what do? Most people would do this. Look at it. Look at how much the arm is going beyond the shoulder scaption. And look at it. If you have tight neck, you end up doing this. Not very pleasant. The body doesn't like it. No wonder sometimes people get injured just by doing this, yanking their arm, and as a result, they injured their shoulders. That's a no-no. Another thing is, for instance, taking something from the kitchen cabinet above, okay? We reach out to take it, but we lack the mobility for the arm to go so high up to this point. So what do? We may end up doing this. I'm exaggerating, but some people have hurt their lower back by trying to push forward from here while trying to reach above because they're unable to straighten their arms. They're unable to bring the arm to this range. They're unable to open up their ribs. Or you've been sitting all day in the office and then you go to the gym. You're put on a squat, so instead of bending from the hips, you end up doing this. It's on the lower back and then you do the deadlifts. So what happens from here is that you start hinging from the lower back. You're probably not folding from the hip joints. So that's not very good because the lack of space in the hip joints would cause us to overuse the lower back, not to mention the lack of core strength. These are three very simple examples that I see happen very often with my clients. And yes, it may sound like I am slamming the fitness industry. To some extent, I disagree with a lot of what they do, because it's really all about putting on muscles for the sake of superficial muscles, whatever for. It doesn't support movement function. Yes, some clients ask for it. If they are going for a competition for a best bodybuilder, etc., perhaps. But most people do not need that much bulk. So as a trainer, I feel you need to be responsible. help people improve the daily movement function, advise them why they need to do that, more than encouraging them to put on bouts of muscle for vanity purpose. It doesn't serve anybody. So back to the point. The lack of mobility could cause injuries or small accidents or anything in the body, whether you're doing big exercise movements or small daily movement activities. This is something we must really take into account, that our joints, doesn't matter which part of the body, the upper extremity or the lower extremity, must be as mobile as possible. Because the body transfers weights, when we walk, when we move, the weight gets distributed across the body. Each part of the body should get an equal transmission of weight and force so that each plays its part in working as a team to enable smooth movement function no matter what we do. This equal transmission of force in the body is so important to prevent pain and to prevent joint congestion so that no one part of the body is overworked that causes more contraction, and no one part is underworked that causes flaccid and weak muscles. Because in the part of the body that's contracted, chances are the joints will be so tight, and the part of the body that is not working very well functionally is a bit flaccid, the joints will be too sparse. Imagine this imbalance, one gunked up and one loose. It doesn't paint a very good picture about how it can support us to ensure more freedom of movement in our daily lives. And freedom of movement in our daily lives is absolutely important for good movement function. So it doesn't matter how young or old you are, because one of the things that often happen in people's minds is that, oh, you take glucosamine for joints mobility in old age, because joints problem only happen when you reach a certain age. And if you are young, you have no joints issue. Not that you do not have joints issue when you're young, it's because the joints problems are not obvious yet. I'm saying this because when you're older, say not even old actually, just 40 and above, there are people who start feeling pain by then that they have to go see a physical therapist or seek medical treatment. All that can be avoided because that is actually a reflection of accumulation of tightness that you allow to happen over time. It need not be that way. Please don't allow tightness to happen in your joints over time. Prevent it. And if you're young, you don't think you need joints help in any sense or mobility moves, it's because it hasn't accumulated enough to the point of congestion yet. So that means when you're young, you need to take care of your joints, do more mobility moves so that you will not have any movement problems from the joints when you're older. And when you don't have movement problems when you're older, all pain can be prevented. Another thing that causes joints problem, mobility issues is, guess what? Mindset and emotional problems. There is a whole course on emotional anatomy. I suggest you go check it out. Now, the thing is, when we have emotional issues, our cells take it in. We communicate with our cells about all of our anxieties, fears, depression, all emotional issues. And our bodies don't take to negativity very well. So what happens is, it starts to shrink. Yes, emotional issues, mental stress shrinks the body. Which is why it's so important to think positively. It's not just about manifesting your wishes. It's about making sure the body is in a constant expansive mode. When we are in an expansive mode, our cells will be happier, taking in all the positivity. It will not mutate. Less mutation, that means healthier cells. You don't even need stem cells treatment if you think positively. Be happy, be joyful. And for me, being happy and joyful starts with the body. So yes, feed your body happy thoughts, anticipation of good things to come. Make it happen. You if you find it difficult, you may need to force yourself into doing it first. That's okay. Do it until it becomes intuitive. Now, you can do one little test yourself, okay? Look around, people around you, your friends, your relatives, family members, even your colleagues in the office. Note, Those who are often agitated, angry, or not so happy with life tend to have a very tight spine or a shrunken body or a not so appealing posture. Whereas people who take on the positive side or the lighter side of life would have a more upright posture, would have more flexibility in the movements. Chances are they are also perhaps younger looking than their age. The correlation of all this is everything I've mentioned. So feed yourself good thoughts because our cells love it, our body loves it, our tissue loves it. As a result, our muscles respond happily to it. One of the things we must do for ourselves is don't allow life to get in the way. I know it's difficult. All of us face our challenges, but we must really try our best because ultimately, if we allow it to happen to us, we are the only ones that suffer in our own body. Nobody can suffer for us like we do for ourselves. So live a happier, fulfilling life. Don't allow any kind of worry to get too much into it that you start to feel it in your body or your health. Now, for me, I have my personal challenges, and if life gets in the way, what you need to do is, yes, allow yourself to brood if you have to. Few days, 1 week, 2 weeks, done. Work out a solution. When we work out a solution, guess what? We start thinking forward. When we think forward, we have a vision of better things to come, hopefully, because when we have solution means we're able to get things done to solve the problem. That means better times ahead, right? So anticipate the better times ahead. And you know what? Mental and physical is not divided. It's really important that once we start anticipating good times ahead, our body loves it, our tissues respond, and our body will improve in its pliability, which helps with mobility. It's not a long way round. Everything happens at the same time, so it may sound like I am explaining a chain reaction. It is not. It's actually everything happened at once together. So it's not a long-winded way round. It's actually simultaneous. Let's paint the opposite picture, that you allow life to get in the way, you can't help it, okay? Or you start to live a very sedentary life, you don't move that much. Guess what? You will age faster in your facial expression, which then leads to a loss of collagen in the body, in the face, and then you start to age seemingly much faster, and then you get frustrated with yourself, etc., etc. Things just snowball. Not good, okay? So if we try our best to think of better times ahead, think of a solution, this is what you need to do, be proactive, the body loves it, we open up more, we breathe better, etc., we will then be able to defy aging better. Now, defying aging is not a vanity issue. It's actually for us to live pain-free in this life for as much as possible. And when we are able to get into the defying aging mindset, guess what? Mobility will improve once we start working on it, and we need not even try so hard. Because once our joints are nourished, we bring better flow, qi, circulation of the blood, everything better to the body, which in turn will circulate back to better mind management because our brain gets more oxygen. Everything just flow, mind, body, body, mind. Now, I'm saying joints mobility is the start of it all, for me at least, and I'm sharing my experience with you. I heal my mental blockages through my body. And of course, you might have a different way, or you may be following a different guru or teacher who tell you something different. That's all good. Do what works for you. But for me, healing my body heals my mind to help me get more in touch with my heart and my soul. And it starts with something as physical as joints mobility. And when you're in that state where everything is connected, guess what? Pain? What pain? Will you believe it if I tell you I don't even have health insurance? I just trust in my own instincts to heal myself. I'm not exaggerating, and I'm not telling you not to buy insurance, but for me at least, I think it's not necessary, because once you buy insurance, you get into the mindset of expecting to fall sick. I'm not expecting myself to fall sick. I'm expecting myself to defy gravity. I wish you'd be listening to this podcast right up to here so that you're able to hear me say this because, gosh, this is so provocative. You don't need health insurance if you can trust your own ability to heal, because that is the crux of it all. Yes, let me repeat, and it starts with joints mobility. I want to go back to a point I made earlier that we need to have a prevention mindset. That is, if you're proactive about improving mobility, you are adding on something positive in your life by making sure you have freedom of movement. But if you have a solutions-oriented mindset, that means you're waiting for pain to happen. So how do you get into this prevention mindset? Again, by the time pain happens, it's too late, right? Always remember that. So to get into pain prevention mindset, you must first discard your old mindset. That is, if there is no news, no pain, that's good news. No. To get into the prevention mindset, you must see mobility as important. More important than muscle building, more important than any kind of muscle work. If you think a joint is just a joint, it's just joining two bones together, absolutely wrong. You must place mobility as above everything else because we are born to use our muscles intuitively. If you carry your baby, your cat, your dog, you go for a little hike, whatever you do, we already have muscle connection. If you're not talking about building bulk, but daily movement function, doing daily tasks, including opening a jar of jam that requires a little bit of strength or muscle connection from your arm to your shoulders, that is already muscle work. But to be able to access the intuitive muscle work and connection, you need joints mobility. And you've got to make sure there is no congestion in the joints. That means there's no pain. When there's congestion in the joint, that's where you can't even feel like you can open a jar of jam smoothly. Joints cannot be trained. It can only be released because it is not meant to give us strength. It's meant to facilitate the smooth functioning of the body so we have strength. So joints are meant to be enabled, meant to be released. They are meant to be empowered. How do we do all that? There's not enough teaching and modality exercises to show us how to do it. That I agree. So where do you start? If you're at home and you want to do some joints work, number one, I know how important all this for myself, and I've uploaded gazillion mobility works in my channel. Do check it out. Yes, I want you guys to subscribe, but it's not just about growing my channel. It's about sharing the importance of mobility with the rest of the world so that everybody benefit from it. So let's say you don't want to subscribe to my channel, you don't want to do my mobility moves, no problem. Go practice some basic Qigong or martial arts, Tai Chi Chuan, or just dance. Because mobility moves is all about taking the joints in 360-degree motion. If it's a shoulder joints or arm joints, for instance, if it's your elbow joint, it's 180 degree like that. Anything that takes the joints to its full range, that is mobility moves, that is joints health. We must restore the full range of motion that our joints are born to have. It's really very simple, right? For example, hold up your leg and you straighten it. This is the full range of my knee joint. Okay, I'm able to bend it past 90 and straighten it past 90. That's the whole purpose of it. We want to restore this as much as possible. Okay, this is not possible, of course, there are exceptions. If you have an accident, if you broke your kneecap, touch wood, okay? Or any kind of lack of synovial fluid in the joints, then yes, be very careful. But for most people who have no mishap in the joints, you know what? Tight hamstrings could inhibit knee joint movement. We want to enable this. But for those with no big issues in the knee joints, we want to release the tight hamstrings here so that we're able to restore the joint range in our kneecap. It is as straightforward as that. You don't need any special videos to show you the entire techniques of mobilizing the joints because you know, for instance, let's say you're a bit tight here, okay? Go very, very slowly. If you got frozen shoulders, take it to a point where you feel the kink, never mind. Bring it down first. Next time, a little bit more, perhaps bring it down first. Another day, maybe a good day, take it a little bit further, okay? And bring it down. A little bit at a time. It's still much better than letting it gunk up. Don't let that happen to you. Any kind of unstructured movement will allow us to release tightness in the joints and help us to gradually restore full range. I mentioned dance a lot in my other podcasts is because dance is unstructured. You are not programmed to do it in a certain way because the choreography is different each time, which then allows the body to move in different range. You may not be comfortable doing it at the start. Do it slowly. Take it your time, but the point is restore full range. The third thing that stops people from having a preventive mindset and stopping them from preventing pain is that they don't see joints mobility as the rightful form of exercise. That's because a lot of textbooks teach us to see the body in just 1D. Or if you have an online course, 2D. You only see it in skin, bones, and muscles. But the whole body of fluid in the body that's made up of connective tissue, its pliability in fluidity, the ligaments and the joints were all not mentioned as if they're non-existent. This is so wrong. I would reverse the order. You know what? The skin, the bones, the muscles follow where the tissues, the body fluid, and the joints take or not take them. If the joints are stuck, it's not allowing you to have full range. Do you think you can connect to your serratus anterior? The answer is of course not. Because to really connect here, our arms can't be here. You see, when our arms are here, chances are many people will use the front of the shoulders. But when we open up more, connection is effortless. You don't have to focus, try so hard to pull, to connect to the muscle here around our ribs. And if our spinal joints are tight, do you think you're able to do an abdominal roll well? Absolutely not. And if, back to the leg example, okay, if our knee joint is actually restricted, do you think we're able to release hamstrings? Absolutely not. So what's more important, the muscle or the joints? For me, it's the joints. Top priority, and then work your way through to enable the muscles. And to do that, you must acknowledge the joint's full range. That is to see the body in 3D. I talk about some joints being in 360-degree range. That is 3D movement, not 1D, not 2D. It's definitely not what the textbook prescribes. That is so limiting. So if you're a movement trainer of any kind watching this, really ditch your textbooks. Use your eyes to watch reality. Movement has been my form of self-care for over 20 years, and I want to show you how you too can move and take better care of yourself every day.